Hi everyone, welcome back. I am Dr. Oneeka Williams, healer, positivity catalyst, storyteller, and teacher. And you are joining me again with the Ecosystem series. This is part of the Williams Integrated Educational Model. And I'm actually having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are enjoying the sunflowery environment that we're gonna have today. Really and truly, if we're talking about ecosystem, then this is just honoring the amazing ecosystem in which we live. So welcome again. Thanks for joining me. The ecosystem of learning is really designed to create an environment where we integrate all of the components of who we are and bring it to bear in a learning environment. So the ecosystem of learning, which is the Williams Integrated Educational Model, otherwise known as WEAM, which is really a tribute to my parents and the work that they've done, represents this intersection and this coordination and amalgamation of the academic and intellectual rigor, the development of the social aspects of ourselves and our kids, the development of the emotional aspects, and in the backdrop of the physical and physiologic requirements that we need in order to live emotionally, mentally, and spiritually healthy lives. And this ecosystem can be applied whether it is in the classroom environment, whether it's in the workplace. It can be applied in any environment in which there's learning taking place. And certainly, because our goal is to become lifelong learners, this ecosystem can be applied in any setting. So today, we are going to be talking about the T, which is treasure chest thinking. And what does this look like? Do you ever imagine what it feels like when you are working in a place where everyone has a feeling of worth? Everyone has a feeling of value. Everyone feels as if they're bringing their best selves because that best self is recognized, it is affirmed, and it is reinforced. And what that looks like is an environment where people are happy, where people are actually excited to show up for work, where there's likely to be 100% participation, where everyone feels invested, everyone feels connected because they feel as if they are being seen, that they are visible, that their talents and skills are recognized and they are celebrated, that they show up to work knowing that whatever they are bringing to the table is something that will essentially contribute to the overall success of the company or of the educational environment. And it's very important for students who show up to show up in a way that they feel as if they are valued in that environment. You know, when I think of this treasure chest thinking, think of ourselves as treasure chests. You see, my thesis is that we are all treasure chests. We are born with a chest that's full of treasure. And that from the time when we are even unconscious that that chest is being filled, it is actually being filled by the people around us, by our family, by our parents, by the adults with whom we interact, by the images that we see. And obviously, like anything else, the treasure chest could be filled with things that are valuable and that are treasurable, or things that are of significant value, and they communicate to us that we are valuable. Or they could be filled with things that are quite negative, and that when we delve into our treasure chest, what we find are the negative things floating to the top, so that we tend to focus first on the negatives instead of really being able to connect with the positives. And so it's really important for whatever environment that we are in our educational environment, in our home environments, that we as parents and adults are very conscious of what we are putting in our children's treasure chests. And if we are aware, and if we think of everything that we say and everything that we communicate is being placed in that treasure chest, I think it actually will make us much more mindful of what it is that we are communicating and how we're communicating messages to the young minds with which we interact. And so if you remember the story that I told maybe a while ago, about growing up in an environment where as a girl I didn't have access to physics, but I had an environment that mobilized in order to make sure that I could take physics. So my treasure chest was filled up. And I got to Hopkins undergraduate for college, which was an amazing experience for me. But as in anything else, you get the good, the bad, and the indifferent. And the very first week that I arrived there, the pre-med advisor, who wanted to see the international students because I am an immigrant, who wanted to see the international students because we would have had special circumstances and special challenges that would make it a little bit more difficult for us to get into medical school in the United States. And so she asked to meet with us, presumably to give us some set of resources, some set of insights that would actually help us on our journey, help us in overcoming what could be a significant obstacle. And so I went to her with my treasure chest full because I had come out of an environment where I had been told that there are no limits to what you can achieve. And when I got to her, she told me that I would not get into an American medical school and I should plan to go back to the Caribbean for medical school. So what she essentially did was she began to fill up my treasure chest with a whole bunch of garbage. But because my treasure chest had been filled with things that were valuable, because I had actually come up with a set of strategies to filter out the negatives from my treasure chest, I started, as quickly as she put that negative stuff into my treasure chest, I started extracting it, curating it, and dumping it into a dumpster where it belongs. And so that's the type of treasure chest thinking that we would like to introduce into our environments of our children and our workplace, where we feel, and our kids and anyone who's in that ecosystem of learning feels valued, that we are conscious about filling up the treasure chests of our students and of our employees, because when we fill up those treasure chests, what it looks like is that they show up fully activated. They show up believing that nothing is impossible. They show up believing that they have everything that it takes to be able to be successful. They show up with the confidence. They show up with a level of curiosity. They show up with an enthusiasm and an excitement about learning. They show up raring to go. They show up ready to collaborate, to interact in an environment where they are literally bringing every single fiber of their being into that environment, because they want not only for themselves to be successful, but they understand that they do not exist on their own, and that every contribution that they make into the environment is a contribution that is valuable and that will contribute to the overall success of the environment in which they are existing at that particular time. So the activities that we encourage as the tactic to the treasure chest thinking is to do the work that is involved in making sure that we are able to take that journey to self-discovery, to identify what is in our treasure chest. What have we been told that is valuable? What are the things that we have been told that affirm us? Make those lists that list the people and list the things that you have been told that are clearly part of the treasure chest. Identify those things that, even if they're on the surface, that don't appear to be treasure because they may be a little bit dull and they don't seem like the nice shiny treasure. Sometimes those things just need to be dusted off, and you can find the treasure underneath the dull surface, because there are many things that are in our treasure chest that may not necessarily look shiny and bright, but there may be those things that we can dust off and we can find the value. There may be those things that we can learn from. There may be those things that we can grow from. And those are the things that we need to continue to help us stretch in our journey to accomplishing our goals. So there are things in our treasure chest that we can use to empower us to continue to grow and develop the skills that we need to be successful. Curate those things, the things that don't belong in your treasure chest. put them through a positivity filter, and if they don't belong there, then you need to get rid of them. And this is the work, the consistent work that happens every day of sorting through the things in your treasure chest. And we, as educators, as employers, as anyone who is helping to facilitate an environment of learning and an ecosystem of learning, that we have to be extremely mindful of how it is that we put things into the treasure chests of the people with whom we are interacting, so that they feel a sense of worth and value that they will bring into that environment. I am so thrilled that you joined us today. We will have many more strategies available. We would love for you to continue to follow along and to continue to access the other resources that we have in order to help you to build towards this ecosystem of learning. I am Dr. Oneeka Williams, and I am your friend. I am your healer, your positivity catalyst, your educator, your teacher, your storyteller, and I'm so excited that you have taken the time to join us, and encourage you to continue to stay with us as we continue to dig through and sort through the ecosystem of learning principles. Have a great sunflowery day.